Hey y'all, good morning. Something that came up to me that I was thinking about this morning was sophomore disease. Because I was just watching a video on Playboi Carti, and I'll link the video down below actually. And the guy was talking about how Playboi Carti stands are turning on Playboi Carti. And, in the back of my mind, I was like, already? Like, this is happening already? Let me look at my notes here because this is an issue I have with the new school. Okay, there's a couple of artists, and they happen to be my favorite artists of the new school. That when they came out, I was like, "Wow, who is this?" Because normally I'm not like that with a lot of these new school artists. A lot of them are just obvious flash in the pans, pandering, whatever. They're not really making anything. They haven't come out with a new sound or something that makes me go, "Oh, that's unique. That's different." So when someone does something that's unique and different and it's great, I'm the first to be like, oh my God, what is that? Right? And I'm like, can't wait for your next project. And I find that every one of these people that I love have disappointed me with their sophomore album. Every one of them. And it's not that I'm one of those people that's like, I can never be impressed by a sophomore album because I think that's bullshit. Like if you do your job, people are going to love your sophomore album. I mean, look at Ghostface. Ghostface came out with Iron Man, great album, pretty good album, and then Supreme Clientele blew that out the water, in my opinion. Now it's a sophomore album, and he leveled up. You have to level up. I don't understand these people not leveling up. It's like they don't understand what made them interesting in the first place, right? Because if you start off with something interesting and then you build on it, your core fans are going to stick around and love that shit. I just don't buy this idea that, people that like your first stuff, it's because they're stuck and they can't move on or whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's some people like that, but a lot of the time, when you look at these artists that complain about their fan bases only liking their first project, it usually, in my opinion, is the fault of the artist and not the fan. So let's start with ASAP Rocky. ASAP Rocky comes out with Live Love ASAP, right? To date, my favorite rap album of the last 10 to maybe even 15 years. Okay. Um, Brilliant. I mean, I couldn't even get past bass for the longest time. Like the first time I heard bass was just like, what is this shit? And then I must have listened to that song more than 1,000 times. Honestly, more than 1,000 times. Like it was just one of those like weird, like I couldn't wrap my head around that shit of how unique it was at the time. And that clam shit just had me like fucked up, all the way fucked up. It was pure genius. So he comes out with Live Love ASAP. Pretty Flacco sets the thing in overdrive as far as I'm concerned, because Pretty Flacco was some other shit where I was just like, what is this? And so I was anticipating Rocky's album like crazy. Okay, so he's got this amazing project. And then he drops Long Live ASAP, which honestly was a letdown, major letdown at that time, even. And I find that it's the same kind of thing with ASAP Rocky, and I'm going to go to Playboi Carti in a second. A gazillion features, a gazillion different kinds of producers, and as well as rappers that you don't care about. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll get to the whole feature thing in a second because, in particular, with Playboi Carti, and I'm always very wary of when these new artists who have come out the gate with something really impressive. Let me cough. I'm sorry, have come out the gate with something really impressive, and then it's like the whole industry wants to like ride their bandwagon. Like it just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it. So I thought Long Live ASAP was a phenomenal disappointment, all things considered. I mean, there are some decent songs on there, of course, but very, very disappointing. And, you can't. Here's an album that when I was looking forward to it, I was like, oh my God, like, you've just come off this classic mixtape debut with Top Beats, Clams Casino, Beautiful Lou, even SGP, giving you some of your best shit. And then I come to your debut album, and those guys are almost nowhere to be found. It was weird. Like, I mean, Ty Beats did one or two songs, Clams Casino did two songs, SGP was nowhere, and Beautiful Lou was nowhere. Even the cat that did the brand new guy beat, which is phenomenal, nowhere to be found. Lyle, like, why am I hearing from Rico Love and a bunch of these other producers? I don't care about these niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know them. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. Playboi Carti, self-titled, fire, fire. I've told y'all before that, in my opinion, is probably the second best rap album of this last decade. It's up there. Um, and people are going to look back on it and go like, this was really strong work, all things considered. Production wise, even just that audacity of it and just the feel and vibe of it. Right? He comes out self-titled. I'm feeling it. Okay, not a lot of features. Actually, I don't even think there was, other than Lil Uzi Vert, there was, and Rocky. But again, those are his friends, so it makes sense that he would have them, right? And they artistically make sense. Um, Pierre and a bunch of other people did the beats, and then you go to Die Lit, which was a disappointment. Frankly, it was just a disappointment. Are there some bangers on Die Lit? Of course there are. RIP is a banger. No Time is a banger. Even Top is a good song too. Lean for Real is okay. But the problem to me with Die Lit is that Die Lit is the introduction to a certain degree of that like baby voice Cardi to a certain degree. Um, and the beats, while they are pretty decent, they almost are not like fully rendered. I don't know how to describe it. It's like they're almost there, but they're not quite there. They're not quite as infectious and quite as interesting as they were on self-titled. Oh, I forgot to mention Shooter. Shooter's fire. So there are some songs on Die Lit. Die Lit is a better follow-up, in my opinion, than Long Live ASAP was a follow-up to Live Love ASAP, right? So, and Live Love ASAP, you're talking about, no features. Long Live ASAP, you're talking about, Action Bronson. I think Action Bronson was on that shit. Kendrick Lamar. And that whole One Train song to me was a perfect example of people I didn't care about being on a song with ASAP Rocky. Like, I don't listen to these niggas. Like, I don't know why ASAP is even doing a song with him. I mean, I get that he was trying to, like, you know, he was trying to water himself down and he was trying to be acceptable to people who complained. A lot of people were like, oh, you're weird or whatever. And so he was kind of like reaching out almost on some like, here, work with me or whatever. And then you can see I'm actually not that weird. But again, those guys that complained about you being weird, their fans or whatever, they're probably jealous. That's just where it goes. They're probably jealous and mediocre. So why would you pay attention to them? Just do you, instead of like trying to reach out to these cats that ain't on your level, on any level. And so, anyways, the point is you look at Playboi Carti and Playboi Carti Die Lit drop, just disappointment. And then the other three artists that were really disappointing to me, but are almost not really rap, but sort of, I think is really interesting is Frank Ocean, Bryson Tiller, and Lorde. Okay, again, these three people had me like, wow, who the hell, who the fuck are these people, right? When Frank Ocean came out with Nostalgia Ultra, I loved that shit. There were like 4 or 5 songs that I was just like, Strawberry Swing was my shit. We All Try, Songs for Women, Swim Good. I mean, I was Novocaine. I was listening to them shits all the time, and I was really blown away. I remember the day this shit came out, and I was like, oh my god, some new talent. And then this guy just went and switched it up, like his producer, and I forget the name of the guy producer who did like Novocaine. He did like, he did We All Try and things like that, and some of Frank Ocean's best material on Nostalgia. He ended up doing music. I think his name's damn, I can't remember his name, but he did the beat also for some of Miguel songs, like Simple Things or some shit. Damn it, I'll put it in the comments or something like that. I'll remember the guy's name. But I'm like, where's this guy's producer? We don't see him on Channel Orange. And that was your guy to me. Lorde, pure heroin, fire. Some of those songs were pure fire. And it was just like, who is this chick, Lorde? Right? Like, those beats, fire. Her attitude, fire. The whole thing put together was dope. Team was amazing. Biting Down, right? Royals was fire, right? Glory and Gore. Like, these are all really interesting songs. And you're expecting her to level up. And then she comes out with Melodrama. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, who was that for? It wasn't for me. Like, I don't care about that shit. Then again, we look at Bryson Tiller, Trap Soul, genius, genius. I mean, those beats on Trap Soul were genius. Not everything was hitting, but a lot of people were trying to do Trap Soul before Trap Soul came out and couldn't pull it off. And Timbaland and a bunch of the producers on Trap Soul figured it out and actually made that shit sound like trap and soul music at the same time. That's genius. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, we cannot wait for Bryson Tiller's follow up album. And that follow up, mid. Again, man, you know, you can't be in the upper echelon. You can't be next to the Nas's and the Hoves and the Ghostfaces and Missies without leveling up, right? Like, what made these artists so great is that they stuck to what made them great while continuing to the level up, right? Missy leveled up. She came out with Super Duper Fly and then hit you with that Real World, right? She's a Bitch, which was different, but still her. And then hit you with Get Your Freak On, which was different, but still her. You have to do that shit, or else it's not worth it, right? Like, if you can't level up on your own original sound, you're going to be a flash in the pan, all things considered, and you're not going to be at that level. And I think that's why when people go, oh, he's just as good as Nas, some new cat, it's like, what are you talking about? You can criticize Nas or Jay, all these guys all day, but the fact of the matter is that these guys had multiple amazing projects. Multiple. And they dropped them shits in their fans' lifetimes. Okay? These guys that you love, at best might have one good project. And the rest of it would be pure trash. And that's a problem. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you all later.